Hello, everyone. I hope that you are enjoying your 2024 so far. I feel like this year so far has been a more intentional start for myself than years prior, which has felt nice. And I think that something that I've learned about myself that has helped with that is just how things need to operate on my side or in my brain in order for me to accomplish my long and short term goals. So, a part of that process for me has just been really establishing what I do like slash want versus what I don't like or want for myself. So that's just kind of how I'm going to segue into what I want to talk about in this video. So that's going to be my 2024 sports ins and outs. So, first on my list is weak or bad calls. You're just watching like a 3-point contest every single game. And I think also what we're going to learn very quickly in this video is everything just comes back to that I'm a hater. So, the Spurs don't have a fantastic three-pointer named Steph Curry on their team, just like showing out every game. So, I'm not interested really in watching like an offensive battle. I think defense wins games, or at least it used to. I'm not against, like, I'm gonna watch the 3-point contest between Steph and Sabrina for the All-Star game. Like, that's cool. That's awesome. But it's like, that's not what I'm tuning into a basketball game to watch. Number two on my list is actually hating your rivals, I think is concerning. I mean, growing up, like, the Spurs Lakers game, that was the time of my life. And I feel like people who get into fights and stuff at games or just literally hate people the moment you say like, "Oh, they're a this fan." What is wrong with you? Like I think my way of describing it is it's kind of like an enemies to lovers trope thing. Like I feel like we're kind of besties. We have a little bit of beef. That's just me though. And if you are having some serious rivalry troubles, maybe you should see someone about that. And so number three on my list, I have not giving credit where credit is due. That, pretty much sums it up for itself. Like, if you got whooped, just be like, hey, I got whooped. That stunk. Like, don't try to blame it on outside factors and stuff. Like, it just is what it is. Like, having mutual respect for your opponents or your rivals, I think is also just very healthy for yourself and for your growth. I also think not in at all is acting like being a sports fan allows you to be rude or belittling to non-sports fans because one, it's just ridiculous, but I think that everyone should feel like that's literally the point of going to games and stuff like that is just like the sense of community that it's creating. Making someone feel unsafe or unwelcomed, like they can't ask questions, like you need to know every single thing about this team since the beginning of its existence, or you are not a real sports fan. Like, oh, you're a sports fan, like name 5 songs. That's basically what I feel like I fall into sometimes. And I just don't like when people make it so exclusive and like elitist, because that's not to me what it should ever be about. Next on my outs list is the GOAT argument. I just think we should stop because there's just no correct answer, really. Like, there is not a scientific method we can use to evaluate who is the greatest blank of all time, um, because there's just so many factors that play into it. I think it's really cool to just acknowledge, like, like Hall of Fame is great because it's like this is a player that shaped the league and changed this by doing that. Um, but I just think trying to figure out who is number one is just, it's worthless. Number 6 on my list, out is Simone Biles' husband, who I will not mention his name because I don't even know his name, honestly. Um, but yeah, like, speaking of, like, there's no point in talking about who's number 1, but, like, healthy competition, yeah, like, that's cool for a relationship, but, like, how are you going to not acknowledge the greatness of your literal gold medal winning wife when you haven't proven yourself in the league that you are currently in? I just think that you should be rooting for her, and, like, that's really cool. Um, like, he should be her number 1 fan. I don't think that that's healthy the way that they talk about it, and I think it's really sad. And it's like there's just no way of looking at it without being like, he is saying that because he is a man and she is a woman. And like, it's just what it implies, I think, is very upsetting. Out is debating what is and isn't a sport. Anything that was hard is a sport, was the way people are making it sound. And I think that that's a really silly way to look at sports. Like, yes, sports can be hard, but so can waking up in the morning. Like, waking up in the morning is not a sport. I don't think that it is an indicator of how difficult or hard you have to work to be good at something. That debate is silly. I do not subscribe to it. However, let's go to my ins. So, ins number 1 is crying. I personally love to see people cry about sports. More specifically, men. I've tweeted this more than once. I love when men cry. I think it is so healthy and nice and refreshing to see men expressing their vulnerability. Um, and for young men and stuff to see that it is healthy, if not encouraged, to feel big emotions regardless of who's watching. I don't care if it's because you're winning or you're losing. Like, you obviously dedicated a lot of time and effort into this to be wherever you are right now. So, like, the way you react is valid. Number 2 on my end list is asking thought provoking questions. I am so tired of watching interviews where players are just having to answer the same question over and over. I mean, even like, and I know this is unavoidable, but if it's like sideline reporters, it's like, how was the first half? And it's like to the losing team, it's like bad. You know, like there's not much you can do there. I get it for like a sideline reporter. That's like, that's your script. That's what you're supposed to do. But I'm talking about like after the game, and for example, like with Wemby, they're like, how does everyone freaking out about you make you feel? And he's like, I don't care. Okay, he doesn't care. But also, he's been asked that question like 10 times. Like, can we just get a little more creative? 3 is my in is staying for the whole game. Whether you win or lose, I'm always going to respect the people who stay the whole time. Like, you're getting obliterated, you're getting blown out. I get it. But it's like, you were already planning on being here regardless. Like, if you're a real fan, you should stick it out, I think. I think identifying as a fan is really cool. That's another one of my ends. I've never not loved the Spurs, but this is a new stage of my life as a Spurs fan because it was like, okay, I'm rooting for the Spurs. The Spurs are good. The Spurs are getting better right now, but they're not great. Um, so just like identifying as a fan, like I still love my team, even though they're not performing the way I would like them to. Number 5, I have civil sports discourse online. That's kind of just me dreaming out loud. I feel like somebody will post something and then you get like a silly bot comment. I love somebody who like comes in the comments with like their facts and they're like, this is why I disagree with this. I respect that more than like boo, you're wrong. Like, let's talk about it. Like, let's figure out why you think that way. Number 6, I have celebrating small and moral victories. And I think I'm saying that because that will help me identify with my Spurs again. Just recognizing like it's growing pains with this young group, and it's important to acknowledge the small victories because that's probably a lot of what we're going to have for a little bit. So, unfortunately, my audio cut out because I ripped the cord from my speaker as I was recording towards the end. So, I just wanted to wrap up and say thank you so much for watching. I hope that you all have a wonderful 2024, and feel free to share your ins and outs with me in the comments or via text or any form of communication. So, thank you so much. Bye.